sent her to bed. And when Cindy Lou Who was in bed with her cup, now grinned the Grinch, I will stuff up the tree.
Since its debut in 1966, How the Grinch Stole Christmas has become a Christmas film icon for over 7 decades. Based on the book of the same name by Dr. Seuss, the film tells the story of the Grinch, a mischievous green creature living in isolation atop a high mountain overlooking Whoville, where everyone is eagerly preparing for Christmas. The Grinch hates Christmas so much that he decides to sneak into Whoville and steal all the presents, trees, and decorations to ruin everyone's holiday. However, in the end, he realizes that Christmas doesn't just come from stores or gifts, but from the warmth, unity, and love of the community. Behind the captivating Christmas story, How the Grinch Stole Christmas hides numerous strange secrets that few people know. From Chuck Jones accidentally sketching the Grinch based on his own face, Dr. Seuss owning a car with the license plate Grinch, to the deep, resonant voice of "You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch," performed by Thurl Ravenscroft, but uncredited on screen. So, what other mysterious and weird facts have never been revealed? Let's explore everything in this video. 20. Huge production cost. The film's production cost reached $315, equivalent to over $2.8 million today. An extremely high figure for a half-hour animated program at that time, and nearly 10 times the $76,000 spent on A Charlie Brown Christmas. The main reason stemmed from the superior animation quality the production team pursued. Typically, television animation used about 3 drawings per foot of film, but Chuck Jones's film used up to 15 drawings per foot, making movements smoother and more detailed. In total, over 25,000 drawings were created, including 250 background drawings and 1,200 character drawings, making production costly and lasting 11 to 14 months. Beyond animation, high costs also came from the cast and music. Boris Karloff, with his distinctive voice, played both the Grinch and the narrator, while Thurl Ravenscroft provided the voice for the famous song "You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch." High-quality recording of voices and songs, along with a large orchestra for the soundtrack, all contributed to the cost. Composer Albert Haig was responsible for the background music and songs, requiring significant time and resources to ensure the music matched the refined animation quality. Compared with A Charlie Brown Christmas, the difference is clear. The Grinch
because
used
the main
more
character,
drawings,
Grinch,
a larger
is
overall
essentially
count,
Ebenezer
longer
Scrooge.
production
I'm not saying that as a
time,
negative
and
thing, I'm just
invested
saying
in elaborate music, all of which increased costs. Additionally, CBS paid $350,000 for the rights to broadcast the film twice in 1966 and 1967, reflecting the film's value and significance. All these factors combined to create an expensive animated film that simultaneously became a timeless classic. 19. The Grinch was originally only white. In the original book, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, by Dr. Seuss, the Grinch had no specific colour. Early illustrations were only black and white with a few red or pale pink details to highlight the Christmas atmosphere. Therefore, when Chuck Jones, the famous Warner Brothers animation director, began adapting the story into a colour TV special in 1966, he and Dr. Seuss faced an important question. What colour should the Grinch be? The colour choice was not only aesthetic, but also influenced how the audience perceived the character. A quirky creature, separated from the Whoville community, but still maintaining humour and charm. According to later sources, the decision to choose green came from a very accidental event. Chuck Jones recounted that during the summer of 1966, he often drove rather ugly green rental cars when visiting Dr. Seuss in La Jolla, California. That colour stuck in his mind so strongly that he realised it was the perfect shade for the Grinch, both unpleasant and distinct. When Jones suggested this, Dr. Seuss immediately agreed, saying, "There's no better choice." That green colour was not only an aesthetic decision, but also a way to represent the character's psychology, lonely, jealous, and envious, yet ultimately capable of change and warmth. Since then, the Grinch's green has become an irreplaceable, iconic mark. All later versions, from Ron Howard's 2000 live-action film to the 2018 3D animated version, retained this green as a core part of the cultural legacy that Chuck Jones and Dr. Seuss created together. Do you find the Grinch's unique green colour impressive? Share your thoughts. 18. The Grinch's eyes turned from red to green out of emotion. The scene in which the Grinch changes his heart is one of the most touching and celebrated moments in the film. After hearing the Who's sing Welcome Christmas, despite having all their gifts and decorations stolen, the Grinch realises that Christmas doesn't come from material things or stores. When he exclaims, "Maybe Christmas doesn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas, perhaps, means a little bit more," his heart, which was 2 sizes too small, suddenly grew 3 sizes. This moment symbolises inner redemption, showing a complete transformation from selfishness and bitterness to love and compassion. Interestingly, for most of the short film, the Grinch's eyes are red, reflecting his bitter, misanthropic, and cunning nature. But when he discovers the true meaning of Christmas in this scene, seeing the Who's joyfully celebrating in poor Whoville near the end, his eyes turn green, signalling that his mindset has changed. Visually, this scene is regarded as one of the finest examples of Chuck Jones's animation skill. Although the Grinch is an unrealistic character, the animation team adhered to subtle anatomy principles and the 16 basic principles of animation, making the heart's expansion appear believable yet expressive. Every frame was refined to give the impression of a real beating heart inside the green fur, allowing the audience to feel the warmth spreading with the light of understanding. This scene is often considered the emotional climax of the film, perfectly blending music, animation, and the humanistic message Dr. Seuss conveyed. 17. Dr. Seuss. Opposed choosing. Boris Karloff to voice the Grinch. Initially, Dr. Seuss was not enthusiastic about adapting his book How the Grinch Stole Christmas into an animated film. He had a less than pleasant experience producing The 5,000 Fingers of Dr. T, a cinematic failure both financially and critically, making him cautious about adaptations. When director Chuck Jones proposed making a TV version of the Grinch story, Seuss was reluctant, fearing a repeat of past failures. He was also concerned that the voice of actor Boris Karloff, known for horror roles like Frankenstein's monster, might make the Grinch too scary for young audiences. However, Chuck Jones believed Karloff was the perfect choice. A long-time admirer of Rudyard Kipling, Jones had heard Karloff's recording of The Jungle Book and was impressed by how he created a voice with depth and subtle nuances between good and evil. Jones argued that Karloff's haunting resonance would make the Grinch not only frightening but also charismatic and humanized. In the end, Seuss agreed, and the results proved Jones correct. Karloff's voice gave the Grinch a distinctive character, cold, disdainful, yet containing a hint of warmth. In the 1966 broadcast, Boris Karloff provided both the narration and the Grinch's voice. This was Karloff's final voice acting role before his death in 1969. Do you find the Grinch's voice impressive? Share your thoughts in the comments. 16. Dr. Seuss's personal license plate was Grinch. In an article, Geisel said he saw a Grinch-like face in the mirror while brushing his teeth on the morning of December 26th, which inspired him to write about the cranky character as a way to reclaim Christmas joy. To show his personal connection to the Grinch, Geisel got the license plate Grinch for his car. Initially, he struggled because another fan had already registered it, but when that family moved, they returned the plate with an apology. This plate became a personal symbol, linking him to the Grinch character he created, reflecting the deep relationship between author and character. After Geisel's death in 1991, His widow Audrey Geisel, who played a key role in preserving Dr. Seuss's legacy, continued to use the Grinch plate on her car. Today, Geisel's grey Cadillac with the plate Grinch is displayed at the Springfield, Massachusetts History Museum, serving as a living symbol of the connection between the author and the Grinch character. 15. No brand would sponsor the film. Although Dr. Seuss approved the project, it nearly failed due to a lack of funding. At that time, special TV programs were rarely self-funded and usually relied on commercial sponsorships from large companies. For example, A Charlie Brown Christmas was backed by Coca-Cola. However, Chuck Jones was not as fortunate. He brought storyboards and scripts to over 20 potential companies, including cereal, candy, and toy manufacturers, but all declined. Companies feared the Grinch story could backfire if associated with their brand. After months of searching, Jones finally found an unexpected sponsor, the Foundation for Commercial Banks. Jones later described it as ironic that a financial organization would fund a film with the famous line, "Maybe Christmas doesn't come from a store." Nevertheless, the banks overlooked the contradiction and provided the necessary funds for completion. 14. The animated film exists because of World War II. The collaboration between animator Chuck Jones and writer Theodore Dr. Seuss Geisel began during World War II, nearly 2 decades before How the Grinch Stole Christmas was released. They both worked on the US War Department's propaganda animation project, Private Snafu, a series of short films produced by Warner Brothers Cartoons to train soldiers through humorous, easy-to-understand stories. Chuck Jones directed several episodes, while Dr. Seuss wrote the scripts, dialogue, and created characters. This series is a prime example of using animation for educational purposes during wartime and marked the first time they worked together. During Private Snafu, Jones and Seuss quickly realized they shared an artistic vision. Both believed animation could convey not just entertainment, but also social messages and deep emotion. After the war, they pursued separate careers but maintained their professional relationship. In the early 1960s, they began discussing the possibility of adapting one of Seuss's famous works into a TV special. Thanks to their experience on Private Snafu, they understood each other's style and creative process, making the production of How the Grinch Stole Christmas smooth and efficient. 13. Chuck Jones had to fill 26 minutes. When making the film, director Chuck Jones faced a major challenge. The original Dr. Seuss book only took about 12 minutes to read, while the TV special needed to run 26 minutes. To fill the gap without disrupting the narrative flow, Jones creatively added numerous new elements, notably the role of Max, the loyal but suffering dog of the Grinch. This addition scene, where Max is tied to the sleigh and struggles down the snowy hill, became a humorous highlight beloved in the film. In a recorded conversation for a TNT special, Jones shared that this entire scene was not in the book but brought depth and life to the story. He also admitted that Max was his favourite character. Additionally, action sequences were used to extend the story, specifically the scene of the Grinch and Max descending Mount Crumpet to Whoville. 12. Its success led to 2 spin-offs. After the massive success of the special, The Grinch quickly became a holiday cultural icon, prompting producers to expand the story beyond Christmas. This resulted in 2 new specials, Halloween is Grinch Night, 1977, and The Grinch Grinches the Cat in the Hat, 1982. The first, broadcast on October 29, 1977, served as a prequel, showing the Grinch descending on Whoville to spread fear during Halloween. Though darker than the original, the film retained Dr. Seuss's characteristic satirical and humorous spirit, while further portraying the Grinch as both wicked and pitiable. The special was well received, even winning an Emmy for Outstanding Children's Animated Program, affirming the character's enduring television appeal. 5 years later, The Grinch. Grinch's The Cat in the Hat marked a rare crossover between 2 of Dr. Seuss's most famous characters. In this special, the Grinch attempts to rediscover his mischief by teasing the cat in the hat, a cheerful and mischievous symbol. The story highlights the contrast between two personalities, one dark and lonely, the other playful and optimistic. 11. The Grinch. Looks more like director Chuck Jones than the original. When director Chuck Jones began designing the Grinch for the 1966 animated version, he didn't realize he had accidentally left such a personal mark on the character. Upon seeing the first sketch, Dr. Seuss laughed and said, "That doesn't look like the Grinch. That looks like you." That statement turned out to be true. Jones admitted he had a habit of unconsciously borrowing his own facial expressions for animated characters. When sketching an angry look or a sly smile, he often looked in the mirror, mimicked the emotion, and put it on paper. This made the Grinch's face, round chin, full cheeks, raised eyebrows, and half-mocking, half-amused smile, closely resemble Chuck Jones in real life. Do you think the Grinch looks like the director? Share your thoughts. 10. Thurl Ravenscroft went uncredited for singing. You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. For many years, the public often misunderstood who performed the iconic song You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch. Although Boris Karloff voiced the Grinch and narrated the film, he did not sing the song. The real voice behind the deep, resonant, characterful vocals was Thurl Ravenscroft, a professional bass singer and well-known voice actor. Ravenscroft was famous at the time for voicing Tony the Tiger in Kellogg's Frosted Flakes commercials with the signature slogan, "There G are Riet." The song was composed by Albert Haig, music, and Dr. Seuss, lyrics, featuring a unique tune that was both menacing and humorous, perfectly matching the Grinch's half-hateful, half-pitiable nature. Ravenscroft was chosen for his deep, powerful yet flexible bass voice, which could convey the character's sarcastic, disdainful, and dark personality while maintaining the animated fun. However, due to a post-production error, Ravenscroft's name was not credited in the film, causing many viewers to mistakenly believe Karloff both narrated and sang. When the mistake was realized, Dr. Seuss personally sent letters to major US newspapers clarifying that Thurl Ravenscroft was the performer. Although verified, the misunderstanding persisted for decades and was only fully corrected after production and original recording documents were released. 9. The Grinch film. Inspired a real-life romance. Interestingly, Chuck Jones happened to meet his future spouse, Marion Dern, a journalist and author of the comic Ricochet. According to numerous anecdotes in the film industry, this fateful meeting occurred when Marion interviewed Dr. Seuss for TV Guide. During her work, she was introduced to Chuck Jones, the talented director behind the Grinch's lively drawings. Amid the creative atmosphere of the set, the two quickly discovered a shared passion for storytelling, art, and a humorous, charming personality. Their relationship gradually deepened. Marion became Jones's partner during his peak post-Grinch career. They married and lived together until Chuck Jones passed away in 2002, after more than 3 decades together. While the initial meeting story remains partly legendary, with no confirmed documentation of that interview, their love was described by friends as a relationship born from art and sustained by understanding. In a way, The Grinch was not only a career milestone for Jones, but also the beginning of a real-life romance. 8. The Grinch. Stealing Christmas scene was the most complex sequence in the film. To extend the film, in the scene where the Grinch executes his plan to steal Christmas from the Who's, the director had the Grinch silently enter each house, take lollipops from sleeping children, clear out refrigerators, and even take the last jar of Who hash. These moments enriched the content while adding Jones's signature humorous and mischievous depth, keeping the film's pace engaging without breaking the spirit of the original story. Technically, the Grinch stealing Christmas scene is one of the most complex sequences Chuck Jones's team ever executed. Veteran animators like Ken Harris, Lloyd Vaughn, and Dick Thompson were responsible for Grinch and Max's subtle movements, from crouching posture and sly expressions to the moment the sleigh wobbled down the hill. The process used over 15,000 animation drawings and 1,200 character layouts based on more than 1,500 sketches by Jones himself. As a result, every glance of the Grinch exudes a mischievous yet captivating personality, making viewers both hate and remain fascinated by him. Do you find this scene impressive? Share your thoughts in the comments. 7. Fans requested a translation of the song Fahu Faraz. When first hearing the song Welcome Christmas, with the familiar chorus Fahu Faraz Da Hu Daraze, many viewers, especially when the program first aired, believed that the words sung during the scene of Whoville residents gathered together were in ancient Latin, with religious or ritual significance. After the film aired, the network even received letters from viewers requesting a translation of the song, as they believed the phrases must carry a profound message. In fact, this was somewhat true because Dr. Seuss intentionally mimicked the cadence of classical Latin, a language often used in Western hymns and religious rituals. He wanted to evoke solemnity and sacred emotion without tying it to any specific religion or language. Composer Albert Haig, who collaborated on the music, helped turn these seemingly meaningless syllables into an emotionally rich hymn, both familiar and mysterious. 6. Dr. Seuss wrote all the lyrics. A little-known fact among fans is that Dr. Seuss personally wrote all the lyrics for the songs in the film. He collaborated with composer Albert Haig, who created the music, to produce 3 iconic songs: Welcome Christmas, You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch, and Trim Up the Tree. Each song retained Seuss's unique poetic rhythm, with rhyming, imaginative, and playful words that perfectly blended the music with the story's atmosphere and message. 5. Outstanding success with 100% on Rotten Tomatoes upon release. How the Grinch Stole Christmas quickly became a television phenomenon and was regarded as the standard for Christmas animation. The film received widespread acclaim from both audiences and critics, thanks to the perfect combination of Chuck Jones' refined visuals, Boris Karloff's deep and haunting narration, and the outstanding music and lyrics of Dr. Seuss and Albert Haig. On Rotten Tomatoes, the film still holds a perfect 100% rating, with the review stating, "The film brings together an impressive array of talent to adapt a classic holiday story, and deserves to become a Christmas tradition of its own." The film's success stemmed not only from artistic quality, but also from its enduring cultural impact. After its first broadcast, How the Grinch Stole Christmas became an annual holiday program, attracting tens of millions of viewers across generations. According to Nielsen statistics, in 1967, just 1 year after its debut, the film ranked second among the highest-rated television programs for Christmas, only behind A Charlie Brown Christmas. From then on, the Grinch became more than just a comic character. He became an American cultural icon, representing redemption, generosity, and the true meaning of Christmas. The film's influence continued strongly for decades. The story of the Christmas-stealing Grinch has been remade and reimagined in various forms, from the 2000 live-action film starring Jim Carrey to the 2018 3D animated version with Benedict Cumberbatch voicing the character. Regardless of the format, the spirit and message of the 1966 original have always been respected and considered the soul of the Grinch brand. More than half a century later, How the Grinch Stole Christmas is still broadcast annually on multiple television and streaming platforms, from NBC to Peacock, and consistently ranks among the greatest Christmas movies of all time in magazines like Time, Entertainment Weekly, and Rolling Stone. 4. Some scenes were cut after editing. Over the years, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, 1966, underwent several edits and censorship adjustments to better suit family audiences and television runtime. One notable change was the removal of the line, "You're a rotter, Mr. Grinch," from the famous song, "You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch." The word rotter was considered too harsh for children, so some networks removed it in their broadcasts. Additionally, the scene in which the Grinch gives a creepy smile while approaching the bed full of Who's children was cut from some broadcasts. Although this scene added humour and dramatic effect, it was deemed potentially frightening for young viewers, so networks decided to remove it to ensure appropriateness for family audiences. Do you remember these scenes? Share which scene you liked best in the comments below. 3. 2 feature films were produced, including live action. The classic Grinch story was adapted into 2 notable feature films by Universal Pictures, expanding the character's legacy beyond the 1966 animated version. The first, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, was a live-action version directed by Ron Howard with Jim Carrey as the Grinch. Carrey's transformation was an extremely challenging process. He spent many hours in makeup each day, including wearing yellow contact lenses, a green fur suit made from yak hair, and even learning military-style endurance techniques to withstand discomfort and pain. This rigorous process turned Carrey into a vivid on-screen embodiment of the Grinch. The film earned $347 million worldwide, and although some critics argued it lacked the warmth and subtlety of the original, Carrey's performance and the makeup effects made it one of the most beloved Christmas films. In 2018, The Grinch returned in a 3D animated version produced by Illumination, with Benedict Cumberbatch voicing the main character. This 86-minute film earned $540 million worldwide, becoming the highest-grossing Christmas movie of all time. The new animated version was praised for visuals, character design, and Cumberbatch's voice performance, though some critics felt it lacked the emotional depth of the 1966 version. Have you watched these 2 versions? Share your thoughts below. 2. The Grinch was created as a critique of consumerism. The Grinch was created as Dr. Seuss's sharp critique of the consumerism spreading in 1950s American society. At that time, the post-war economy was booming and people were immersed in shopping and gift-giving, gradually replacing the holiday spirit with materialism and commerce. Against this backdrop, Dr. Seuss created the Grinch, a creature who hated Christmas so much that he wanted to steal all gifts, ribbons, and decorations from the Whoville villagers. However, this extreme act led to a humanistic realization. Maybe Christmas doesn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas means a little bit more. This line became a declaration against turning Christmas into a consumer race. Dr. Seuss admitted that the Grinch reflected his own feelings when seeing the holiday season commercialized to the point of losing its original meaning. This theme recurs in his other works, such as The Lorax, 1971, criticizing environmental destruction for profit, or The Sneetches, 1961, addressing classism and conformity. Through the Grinch, Seuss did not condemn humanity, but subtly reminded people to reflect. True joy is not in brightly wrapped gifts, but in connection and empathy among people. 1. June Foray voiced Cindy Lou. June Foray was one of Hollywood's legendary voice actors, famous for transforming her voice to portray a wide range of memorable animated characters. In the classic animated film How the Grinch Stole Christmas, 1966, she voiced Cindy Lou Who, the innocent and adorable little girl who famously asked the Grinch, "Why are you taking our Christmas tree?" Beyond Cindy Lou Who, Foray voiced many other iconic characters such as Rocky the Flying Squirrel in The Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle, Natasha Fatale, Lucifer in Disney's Cinderella, and Granny in Warner Brothers cartoons. She was among the first voice actors to gain widespread recognition and received numerous prestigious awards throughout her nearly 85-year career. How the Grinch Stole Christmas is a vibrant masterpiece packed with fascinating behind-the-scenes stories, from Chuck Jones having to extend the 12-minute original book into a 26-minute film. Max becoming the central comedic character, to the techniques of changing the Grinch's eye colour and heart to express his inner thoughts. Additional elements include enormous production costs, the iconic green colour, historic collaboration between Chuck Jones and Seuss, efforts to find a sponsor, censored scenes, and a cultural legacy spanning generations. With all these facts, the Grinch has become a Christmas cultural icon, maintaining an immortal place in audiences' hearts from 1966 to today, inspiring remakes and spin-offs. Do you love this classic animated film? Or which weird fact impressed you the most? Share your opinion in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share the video, and subscribe to explore more fascinating secrets about your favourite films. Thank you for watching.